Hey everybody, welcome to the Built for the Pursuit podcast. We are here in Utah at elk camp at Thousand Peaks.
Yep, Thousand Peaks Ranch.
Thousand Peaks Ranch at R+K, and day 3 of the week. And I am here with Colonel Nick Nichols from Folds of Honor, President of Folds of Honor, and then you might know this guy, Nick Mundt from Bone Collector.
Yes, sir.
So
awesome.
We are hanging out. Enjoying the camp. Nick was lucky enough to get a elk, high-fiving him in 45 minutes into the hunt.
Yeah.
And I was lucky last night, and you're still on out there trying to get one. So
yeah, I like to wait till the 11th hour, man.
Yeah.
You know, there's no fun. You got to get the most out of camp. You can't be shooting. You can't be shooting shooting anything on the first day,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Well, I don't know about that. That's kind of, it doesn't usually happen for me like that.
Yeah.
It happened, right off the bat, 45 minutes I was done. And so then I've been following guys around with the camera, so.
yeah, helping out. Yeah.
Yep.
Is it when you're going into something like this? Because this is my first elk camp hunting experience, And the one thing I feel like I'm learning is, don't expect something specific to happen. Go with, see what's going on, scout, learn, and, don't get disappointed if what you wanted to happen that time doesn't happen.
Yeah.
How do you roll into that?
Well, I think it's important, obviously you're on a hunt because you want to get an animal. I mean, obviously that's why we're all here, but there's a lot more that goes into a hunting trip than just the kill and shooting an animal. When you come to a place like R+K Hunting Company, they're very prepared. All the variables that they can control are very good, from the food to the lodging. The guides are knowledgeable. The country holds a lot of animals. So going into the trip with a mindset that you're gonna, go to have a nice time, gain experience is huge. Obviously you try to put yourself into a position where, success rates are high. You want to go to an outfit that has a good success rate. But, you can't hinge your whole hunt on whether or not you kill. And that's tough for some people to do. I mean, I'm guilty of it sometimes too.
Yeah.
But I think just being able to roll in there, taking the whole experience, work hard. And then at the end of the day, it kind of turns into Mother Nature's choice whether she wants you to get something or not. I mean, there's, weather, wind, whether or not the animals are moving or talking. I mean, there's just so many variables that are uncontrolled, and you can beat your head against the wall and it doesn't do you any good. So I think just going in with the mindset that I'm going to have a good time. If I get one, I get one. If I don't, I don't, which is tough. Sometimes, when you're paying X amount of dollars to go on the hunt, that's always in the back of your mind. But just going in and having a good time, getting to know the people there and spending time, camaraderie, that makes for a successful hunt too.
So you said last time you were here, this is your second time here, right?
It is.
You were the last day able to get lucky in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And so how, day 3, like, how do you feel? What are you thinking right now?
I feel good, and I love what Nick just said. Because when most of my experience is whitetail, so I'm pretty much a novice at elk hunting, but love it. I think it's embracing the process, right, and understanding and coming to camp, being around awesome people, right, and I mean, good Lord, look at this backdrop and everything else, just unbelievable country. So it's enjoying every aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting up in the morning, grabbing that cup of coffee, the excitement of a new day. God just gave us a sunrise and all of those things. So I look at it, it's, every time you go out, you have no idea what's going to happen. And like today, we didn't hear a thing, but that's okay. They hadn't started rutting yet, but, I saw a part of the country that I never would have seen unless I was here doing this.
Yeah, and then I think it's, for me, because this being my first time, it's just trusting your guide. And, they know this place better than anybody. And, Dobie with the Super Bowl, or Dobie Land, just letting him, I feel like he was getting even a little frustrated himself, just because, he's wanting success for us, and the guides are for us, and they've just been so quiet this week. So it's just play the game, see what happens. But
And for me personally, you know, I've been here for several years, and Dobie's usually who I've hunted with every time I've been here.
Yeah.
And so I knew you were in good hands, you know, to get to go with Dobie.
Yeah.
Because he knows the country well. He grew up here. You know, he's been here since the beginning.
Yeah.
And I just knew it was a matter of time over there where you were hunting before you know, got to let a bullet roll. And man, I'm pumped for you. That was just really cool.
no, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Just everything leading up to that, and just I think what you said about the environment we're in, and you know, I caught myself so many times just enjoying the scenery and just loving being in it.
Yeah.
But you know, because you're hunting a lot of whitetail and you're archery, so going from Oklahoma to here, like, what are the things as you're in the middle of it you're thinking, oh, I got to adjust this, or what are you thinking about in terms of the shot or anything like that? Is there anything that comes up?
Well, yeah, my lungs told me day one that you got to adjust to the altitude. Right? So that's a factor that you cannot train for in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
I think, you know, here I didn't really see any difference, you know, when I got here and shot and stuff. I mean, you know, I'm sure there's some science behind that with arrow and bullet flight and stuff. So I feel dialed in, confident with that. And I've archery hunted long enough to know that, you know, you put a bow in your hand, you just made your job 10 times harder and stuff. But again, it's going back to, man, just enjoying that process, the moment, the hunt, everything that is going on around you. And one of the things I like about archery is for me personally, it makes me much more aware of the environment. You know, my eyes are, you know, constantly scanning back and forth, looking for movement. And it's amazing how a 1,000-pound animal can hide from you 100 feet away, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they can be so sneaky through these aspens and trees, carrying that rack and just moving through. But yeah, they do it.
They can disappear and they're elusive. You know, archery hunting nationwide, I think success is less than 10%. Mm-hmm. So, you know, coming into it with the bow and arrow that, you know, chances are against you to get one, and to be able to connect on one, whether it's a big one or a small one, it's a feat, you know, and to get on, you know, they're usually running in herds, so you usually got a bunch of eyeballs there. Yeah. I was lucky enough to find one that was by itself, and I snuck up on it through the aspens. But you know, going into the deal knowing that you're, you know, 10% chance of killing one is, you know, it's tough. So trying to keep your attitude right. And I know after hunting 2, 3, 4, 5 days, you can get depressed and get down, and man, by the time it's over, you're like, I'm never doing that again, you know? So it's a very emotional roller coaster on an elk hunt. You can be right in the middle of them, bugling, feel like it's gonna happen, and when they come in, they zig instead of zag, and feel like you should have had a shot, but you don't get one. And man, it's just really it's a mind bender, and you just got to try to stay positive and keep working hard, because if you let your guard down, that's when, you know, you'll be walking through the woods and then something's going to happen. So you got to stay on your toes the whole time from start to finish, and just be ready to execute, because on a hunt like this, you get one chance and you just got to be ready. So
yeah, and I think that goes back to the sort of camaraderie in the camp, because you can come back, you know, not feeling great, or I'm not seeing anything, and just everybody here is just gets you back out of that, and like, I mean, you've been good with that, because I'm like, man, nothing was happening. You're like, they'll slip up, they'll mess up,
but they'll tell you too. If I was in that situation, I'd be, you know, I'd be the one whining around.
So yeah, it's just interesting. But like with this, you know, you said primarily whitetail. How long have you been hunting?
Probably a little over 20 years. So I didn't really get much of a chance as a kid to grow up doing it. Always wanted to. Unfortunately for me, I lost my dad when I was 15, so we didn't get the opportunity to do all this. But it was something I wanted to do and wanted to be able to hand down to my kids. So yeah, it's probably been, I don't know, 20, 25 years now. And I have hit every tripwire in hunting that you can think of. So if there's a mistake that's been made, I've done it. And but what's cool is the learning process as you go through this, and as you mature as a hunter and start understanding what you're doing. Again, I've got a ton to learn from guys like Nick, and being around him and Waddy and stuff has been valuable in my hunting experience and stuff. But yeah, you just kind of take the punches and roll with it, right? And remember that, you know, it's supposed to be fun, right? Even if you don't see an animal, you miss, you know, everybody misses, all these things happen, and you just enjoy the process.
Yeah, as much as I'll try to watch you guys on, on TV or see what you're doing and read as much as you can, but I feel like it all sorts doesn't become real until you actually try to apply some stuff.
What about you? When did you, what was your kind of first hunting experience, and when did you get into it?
I started late. I think getting into this position before that, I messed around with a few things, but it's something, my dad was in the Navy and he was overseas a lot, and then it just wasn't something that he was familiar with just because of his childhood too. So, but it was always something that the self-sufficient component of it and being able to have a different level of respect for the outdoors. And I've worked at a few different places that have these sort of passionate individuals, and working here, it's important for me to know what I'm doing in a job, and just went into it taking the job knowing this is also the other aspect of it that I got to get up and running with. And it's interesting starting hunting later in life. I mean, because now I'm balancing kids and family and all these other elements, and you just don't have that time to fully make all those mistakes and do all those things. But luckily working and knowing everybody and being able to hear stories and get opportunities like this, it's just been great. And now I'm just trying to think of, okay, what's next, or whitetail for me is next for some things back in Missouri, but it's been so great and such a great learning experience, and I'm excited to get my kids into it now.
Yeah, and there's definitely a learning learning curve, and sort of a I don't know, I guess what the term is, just the fear of the unknown when you get into it. A lot of people would like to do it, but they don't know where to start. Especially, like in the archery world, guys grow up, they've never shot a bow before, but they want to get into archery. So, just that learning curve and the anticipation of going to an archery shop and not knowing anything, and going in and asking the pro shop guys, hey, can you help me get started? That's really a big thing, to be able to have somebody kind of take you by the hand and show you what to do. If you didn't get that as a kid, it's a little bit of a tougher learning curve to get into. And I think that's really important for guys like us, that we get as many people involved in hunting as we possibly can. I mean, that's kind of what our goal is, is to sell hunting licenses and work as hard as we can to bring more people into hunting and into the outdoors. And so if you're somebody that hasn't ever done it before and you want to do it, it's best to find somebody that's done it before, have them mentor you, take you into the woods, even if you're not hunting, just go along on the trip, just to go out and get in a blind and take it all in, learn where the deer come out, learn how to hunt the wind. There's just so many variables that you would never know unless you have somebody that's done it before that teaches you, and that's what it is. You just got to get out there and give it a try, and especially guys like us, we try to get as many people involved. And so, like you, if you got a kid down the street that comes from a single home and wants to get into hunting, but his mom doesn't know anything about it, or his uncle's never hunted, take him out a couple times, take him to the range, let him shoot, teach him gun safety. There's just so many things that we can do to help people get in it and get moving, and that's pretty important for us. Our job isn't to kill big deer, it's to get as many people involved in hunting as what we can. And it's nice to see, guys like you that didn't grow up with it, and now you're embracing it, you love it, you came here, you shot a big bull, and it gets you hooked even a little bit more.
Yeah, and then it's another, I'm excited. It happened last night, so I haven't really got a chance to tell my kids the story yet, but I know they're gonna be excited about hearing it. And they always laugh whenever they get to see me in any video. They're like, what are you doing on TV? But it's just one of those things. And I've had actually friends who, didn't have an interest, and they see me doing it, and they're like, well, I guess I should consider this, if he's doing it. So yeah, it's cool. And then that's where I think for, the Bushnell brand, we're trying to have that sort of availability of product for anybody that's going to get, because I think gear's another one that's intimidating. What do we need to get, and especially now in the social culture, it's a little bit of showing off a little bit. So I think you can be successful in a lot of different ways, and just get what you need. And I don't know how for that, like who is your mentor?
So, golly, I not grew up, but I started, I started watching outdoor TV, watching Realtree road trips back in the day, and then watching these guys come up with the Bone Collector brand. You can learn a ton.
Mm-hmm.
You can learn a ton just watching videos of people doing, what equipment do they have and stuff like that. And you don't have to break the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to go out and, buy, $1,000 worth of clothing and all that stuff. There are plenty of ways, people will sell used bows, used rifles and stuff like that. And you don't have to have the latest, greatest, most expensive stuff to go out there and be successful. And I like what Nick said earlier, you'll have to exercise a little bit of humility and just go up to somebody and say, hey man, I really want to learn how to hunt. I heard you're a deer hunter and stuff like that. Would you mind taking me under your wing? And you'll find that, if they're truly a hunter and they're passionate about what they do, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
They're going to help you out.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, especially as you get older, like the last thing you sometimes want to do is ask those types of questions, and you're gonna be embarrassed or something, right? Mm-hmm. But I've never had it, talking to anybody. There's no such thing as a dumb question, and
yeah, it's very intimidating if you don't know if you don't know how to get into it, or you've never done it, you don't know the lingo, it's intimidating. But just asking for help and getting somebody that's done it before and learning, gaining knowledge from those people is very valuable.
So with this being your second time, is there another sort of hunt in your bucket list or something else you'd like to try?
Yeah, my bucket list keeps getting fuller as we go. I would love to do a pronghorn antelope hunt. Okay, I've never done that before. Moose hunt.
Yeah.
Bear hunts. Those would not necessarily in those orders, but if something comes up, that would be incredible. Again, something I haven't experienced before, I think would be super cool.
Yeah.
And again, it's for me now at this point, it's like putting yourself in those as you get older. You need to keep challenging yourself, right? And go, hey, let's put myself in an unfamiliar, maybe a little bit uncomfortable situation, and I don't know all the things associated with hunting that particular species, but man, I just think it makes us better. It keeps us sharp.
Yeah, it's weird because I feel like there's a lot you learn here that you can apply to other challenges too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's
sticking with it, that sort of thing.
That's right. I mean, and there's so many correlations too between like what I did in the military and what you do in hunting, right? Having that, you got to have some mental toughness too, right? Yeah. To do this, it's not all. A lot of people can probably get a false sense of success watching hunting, shows and stuff like that you always kill an animal, you always kill the biggest deer. That's not the case. And I'm sure Nick will tell you, like 90% of the time, that's not the case, right?
It's a lot of work and effort and time.
Yeah. So, I feel like I'm still learning a lot. You've been doing this for a while. Are you still learning things every time you go out, or?
Oh yeah, and there's no guaranteed method. There's nothing that works at 100% of the time every time. Just like this morning, Andrew from Yeti, we were on a bull this morning, and the thing came from a long ways and hung up at about 100 yards. And at that point, you've done everything right, but there's just nothing else you can do to get him to close that final distance. And it's like heartbreaking because you felt like you were just knocking at the door of getting him, but he just turned and went the other way, and then back to nothing, and you almost feel deflated and defeated, but we got to get back out to this afternoon and try it again. And could happen tonight, it could happen, on his last hunt tomorrow night, so you just never know.
Yeah, and he came in, he still seemed like he was being, it's gonna happen. He was so positive.
Very up tempo and positive, and I think most guys are like that. You feel a little defeated, but you get in, you kind of rejuvenate, and it's like, all right, here we go again. You want it to be easy, but there's nothing easy here. I mean, it's high altitude, it's steep. Anywhere you go, you're either climbing up or going downhill. I got kind of a bum knee, so going up doesn't really hurt me. It's coming down that hurts, And, some of the guys that we're running with are, our guide is 23, 24 years old, and I'm 50, and just keeping up with them is a little bit tough.
Yeah.
And like the Colonel said earlier, you can be in good shape, you can have your legs in good shape and all that, but your lungs, when you come from 0 or 800 feet and then up to 9,000, I mean, your lungs are burning and it's tough to get a breath of air. And so there's a lot of challenges that come with it. And then not to mention, you've just hiked up the hill fast to get to a position, and now you got to hold your breathing together to make your shot and get everything, you know, all put together. There's a lot that goes into it and a lot of variables, and that's why it's 10% success, you know.
Right.
I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, and even, you know, with the rifle, I feel like that area where I was at, because it's just that there's so many challenges with the way that terrain is, and they've got that fence line right there. So if you do mess up, they're gone, and you're done.
That's right.
So it's like there's a lot of risk there, and trying to be all right. What's the right amount of risk to apply right now?
Yep.
And I feel like we were getting more and more aggressive as we learned more about it.
Yep.
You know, obviously Dobie was helping me feel good. Like we gotta go. Yep. And that's what the one thing I was worried about, because we had to get in that position pretty quickly. And then Josh behind me lugging all the camera equipment, having to do the same thing. But man, and then you get there and then you have to calm down. It's just calm down, and then something happens, you get excited again. It's just that emotional control, and I can't even imagine what it's like at that 15 yards, 20 yards, 'cause, you know. So, I mean, do you still feel like you get overexcited, or what's your emotion when that bull walks out?
So I think, well, with any animal, yeah, I mean, the adrenaline's going to be going. Okay, there's no stopping that. Yeah, I mean, you're going to get a little bit shaky. And I know for me, it's like I'm almost better if the animal just appears right there, as opposed to waiting for, you know, okay, 500 yards, 400 yards, 300 yards. That's when you start overthinking everything, and like, okay, if he turns this way, if he turns that way, and that type of stuff. But yeah, and it's you know, one of the things I learned in the military is controlling your breathing, right? You know, quit mouth breathing, start breathing through your nose. It'll relax you and stuff, and just, you know what, it's okay. You know, just breathe.
It's tough sometimes.
Sometimes, you know, and then especially, you know, depending on the environmentals too. I mean, if you're wet and it's cold and you got other stuff going on and you're already shivering because of the cold and stuff, it only amplifies, you know, when that adrenaline kicks in and stuff like that. So it's controlling the controllables. So anything that you can do to simulate the environment that you're going to be in before you get here. Like before coming up here, you know, I would do my workout, okay, make sure I was breathing hard and stuff, and then go shoot my bow. Yeah. Just little things like that can go, okay, you know what, you know, I can, my heart rate's up to $110 or something like that. I know I can still go out and shoot.
Yeah. Did you feel, I think we're at 7,000, 75?
Yeah, about 8,500.
Yeah.
Here,
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Did you feel that getting here? Like,
I felt it, so I always feel it the first day, right? The first day, you're like, your body is kind of acclimating to everything, and then usually by midday, day two, I'm feeling pretty good, right?
Yeah, it was. I think the part that got tough was we had that rain come in, and it's I guess more rain than usual here, so it's really green, a lot of growth, especially where we're at, and getting any sort of footing moving around has been tough.
Yeah, well, climbing up a mountain's hard enough, right, without having to step over deadfall and all the other things, right?
Too, yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely been interesting, and yeah, the elevation for sure. I felt like I felt it more day two, and I think maybe because we're just moving more day two, and I'm just breathing, and like I think I might have once pretended to glass something, and take a.
My shoe's untied.
Dobie, look.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been cool. So what's after this for you?
So after this for me, back to Oklahoma, okay, and you know, continuing to do some good work with Folds of Honor, you know, taking care of military and first responder families and stuff, and I mean, Bone Collectors on board with us, doing great work for us, and certainly appreciate them.
Yeah. What's coming up with that? What's that looking like?
Well, so if you watch the new episodes, man, we've got a spot inside the show, you know, which is really, really cool for us because, you know, when the show moves from the Outdoor Channel to My Outdoor TV, you still see Folds of Honor on there and promoting it. And, you know, nothing is more special in this business when we, you know, partner with folks at the Bone Collector team and stuff. Is just somebody who's willing to share their brand and what they have built from the ground up and kind of combine these things together means a lot to us, and we take it very seriously. And, you know, something that, you know, just like I told Waddy when we had our first conversation, I go, I will protect your brand as much as I protect our own.
Yeah. And then for you, it's like with Folds of Honor and that partnership, how's that how's that feel for you? Like,
Oh, it's great. You know, I know these guys have a great program. My dad was a medic in the 101st Airborne in Vietnam, so I know, he lost a lot of friends and colleagues there, and so I know what these guys are doing. When the families need help, Folds of Honor's there to help those families get through tough times with funding and a bunch of other things, and so it means a lot to me just to have an organization like Folds of Honor that has given a commitment to families of the fallen, and it's just been a great organization. We're very proud to get behind it, and it's just something that means a lot to all of us, so it's really good.
And then how many families were you able to help?
So right now we've got a class of just over 9,000 starting school, and just amazing. So that's about $45 million out the door. To date we're right around, we put about 50,000 scholarships out the door, which is absolutely amazing, right? Just shy of $300 million. And while we're doing that, give you a fighter pilot term here, we operate at high speed, low drag. And what that means is 91 cents of every dollar goes to support these educational scholarships, right? And so we take every dollar seriously. When I talk to the team and stuff and what we're doing and hiring and how we spend money, I pretend that I've got a gold star spouse sitting across the table from me and I got to justify every dime we spend, right? That puts things into perspective, right? Because we want the confidence of our donors, the confidence of companies who partner with us, the Bone Collector team, to know that, hey man, if we're going to put our name behind you guys, we want to know that this money is going to the right place. And guess what? I mean, we've got kids and spouses going to school in all 50 states right now. And what's so special about this, and there's something really cool about military and first responder families in the sense that they're so thankful to us and no, it's our job to thank you and thank your family. And, because, I know for my wife and my 3 kids, they didn't raise their right hand and sign on the dotted line. I did. They're kind of along for the ride. And so it is very, very special to me to be around these families and they're just like, oh my God, I wouldn't be able to go to school if it wasn't for this. We have 700 kids, get this, are first generation college students. That's not just changing that one kid's life. This is, generational change. And it's not just going to college. It is going to a trade school, a technical school and all that stuff, which we support wildly. I mean, we want kids to go do those things because, the country needs it and stuff.
Man, that's amazing. Where's the best place for people to go to find out more information?
Super simple. So go to foldsofhonor.org. Okay, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see that big red donate tab. So click on that and join our squadron. You may ask what that is. $13 a month. Okay, so that giving of $13 every month and trying to get a team of thousands in the U.S. to be able to do that. And a lot of people ask why the number 13. Well, it takes exactly 13 folds to bring the flag that's on my chest to its iconic triangle shape of freedom. Okay, this is the flag that is handed to that spouse, that mom, that dad, that child, okay, which is the ultimate sacrifice, right, on our behalf for freedom, whether you're a first responder or in the military. Man, $13 a month, that's probably less than what you spent at Starbucks this morning, right? To get them fight and know what's going on with these kids and, they're graduating and everything that's going on. You're going to get all that information from us. Again, foldsofhonor.org, join the squadron.
Awesome. And then you'll probably have some information on Bone Collector too.
Yeah, we've also on Bone Collector, we're going to have some of this really cool co-branded gear, with Bone Collector and Folds of Honor. It'll be on bonecollector.com, and 100% of the proceeds to this gear is going to go to Folds of Honor. So anybody that wants to get some of this cool gear and give in that way can do that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, check that out. What's next for you?
So I'm headed to Oregon tomorrow. Ryan, our social media manager, marketing manager, he shot a bull today, which wraps us up. So we're going to head to Oregon, got an elk hunt there. And then I go from there to Illinois for whitetails, and I start my whitetail hunting. Illinois, Missouri, Oklahoma, and then Kansas. So, yep, that should take me about through the first week of November.
Nice.
So, yep.
Driving to Oregon from here?
Yep. Yep. It's only 8 hours, so yeah, and then 24 hours back home.
Sure. What do you do on those drives? What's your
Listen to a lot of music. You know, I don't really listen to many podcasts. I probably should listen to more podcasts, but it just kind of always slips my mind.
This is a good one.
But I'll put on like a show on. I like to watch a lot of outdoor TV, so I'll put a show like, you know, I get My Outdoor TV, the app from the Outdoor Channel, and I'll just put shows on and listen, and then kind of watch while I'm going to, you know, and just a lot of that kind of stuff. Put a lot of music. I like to sing and drive. Makes time go by fast. And
What's on the playlist?
Definitely old country. Merle Haggard, Marty Stewart. You know, just kind of 80s, late 80s and 90s country is kind of what I listen to.
And if you haven't heard him, this guy can sing too. I've heard him. Yes, I heard him last year. He's amazing.
A lot of windshield time, so I get to practice.
Maybe we'll close with a song.
Moon River.
So I know I was asking the Colonel about, you know, what hunts are you looking forward to? I mean, do you still have do you have a list?
Yeah, I've got a few bucket list hunts. You know, I've been very fortunate. I've shot a lot of animals, but I've got a couple of sheep that I've shot. I've shot a Rocky Mountain bighorn and a desert bighorn. I'd still like to finish out my Grand Slam with a stone sheep and a doll sheep.
Yeah.
Don't know if I'll ever be able to do that because they're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But I'd love to shoot a mountain goat. I've shot a couple of brown bears in Russia, but I'd like to shoot one in Alaska with my bow. I'd like to shoot a big brown bear with my bow.
Yeah.
But those are kind of my bucket list items. You know, someday I would like to get all the North American species. Mm-hmm. I've got a long way to go. I've probably got, out of the 29, I've probably got 15 of them, I would say, maybe 17. I've got a ways to go, but most of the ones that I've got left are the really expensive ones, so that's the challenge.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Really, my bucket list is every hunt right now, I guess, technically. I got to figure out where to go. And then, you know, luckily with the bull I was able to get here, they're like, well, you started off on such a great one. So
Yeah, that is great.
So, man.
Beautiful bull.
But with, you know, kind of thinking about the hunting experience, and we talked about learning from everyone. Mm-hmm. What's one of the most like memorable hunts you've had, either positive, negative, learning from, like?
You know, when I was growing up, my dad and I, we just had a dream of shooting brown bears. And so I was lucky enough to get invited on a hunt to Russia with a friend of mine. I got invited to go over there, and I was going to run camera for him and video a bunch of the hunts and then help some of his clients judge the size of these bears. And they asked me if, you know, you can either take money or you can have a bear. And I said, well, I'll take a bear. So then the next year they asked me to go do it again. I shot a nice bear. They asked me to go do it again. And same thing, he said, we'll pay you to run camera or we'll buy you a bear, whichever. So I said, I'll take another bear. But, you know, I was wondering if there was a spot where my dad could come along. So my dad and I got to go over there. And I basically followed him around for the first 8-9 days of the hunt. And he finally shot a bear, and then I was able to shoot one. But just for us to go on that hunt all the way around the world in Russia and both be successful on big old brown bears, I mean, it was just really a memorable experience for both of us. You know, we're staying out in the snow, you're hunting off of snowmobiles, and we're staying in the yurt, you know, out in 10 degree weather, and you know, eating Russian food, and it was really a cool experience. So that's probably, you know, one of my most memorable experiences, you know.
That's cool. So what about you?
I think for me, it's been with my kids, you know, again, so I'm sort of self-taught hunter. So I think I got most of the rookie mistakes out of the way before I was, you know, brave enough to actually take my kids with me. But watching your kids be successful was really, really cool. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, my older two were into hunting, the baby not so much, but just watching them, you know, become successful with a rifle, then successful with a bow, was really cool. It kind of like, I don't know, puts a exclamation point on it. You know, for me, that was probably more, you know, just like what Nick was saying, what was special about that is he was with his dad, right? You know, so this whole experience is about friends and family and sharing experiences and stuff like that. Because, you know, for most of hunt season on my place back in Oklahoma, I'm happy just to, you know, take people who have never gone out before and just making sure my kids are set up for success. You know, that is my greatest enjoyment in this.
Really cool.
So in Oklahoma, are you chasing them? You got anything you're going after? You got specific?
Yeah, so
buck you're
I
targeting?
do. I got a few bucks on my Bushnell Trail cams that I'm pretty excited about this year. It's kind of neat. You know, kind of a dream come true. We have our own property now that we live on and hunt on and stuff like that. And you know, if you're a hunter, that's like, you know, that's a big deal. Like hunting your own place. It's just, there's nothing like it. And so it's really fun to see, you know, the work that I put into it pay off, right? And even as I'm sitting here, I'm getting the notifications and stuff. I'm like going, okay, what is that? And it's just neat. And yeah, I'm very fortunate to be in a good part of Oklahoma in Osage County that carries a lot of big deer. And they just happen to be on my property. October 1st, baby. I'm ready for it.
It's coming fast.
Yeah, I think Josh is a little mad because season started in Kansas, and he's luckily here helping me out a little bit. But he'll get back to it soon. But anything else you're looking forward to this season?
I think that you may want to ask the dog.
See, yeah. What are you looking forward? Oh, bye.
I've just got a bunch of whitetail hunts left after this Oregon trip. I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be a great trip. But man, I take every trip I go on, man. I just love it so much. I love it as much today as I did when I first started hunting when I was a little kid. I mean, it's just,
That's awesome.
It's easy for me to get out of bed in the morning, and I like helping people get their animals out of the woods and, you know, skinning them and getting them caped out and, you know, deboning them and everything like that. And I just love the whole experience. And it's just, there's really nothing I love more than the whole thing that goes into it. So I take every hunt, and I just live every hunt until the next one comes, man. I just love them all.
Oh, that's cool. And then, you know, I think you'll be out tonight trying to get it done.
Yep,
and
tonight.
And then we'll try to go out and try to see if there's some other spots, and hopefully it starts getting more active and you get one. So,
That's right.
yeah.
You will. Each day it gets better and better. So.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. So, well, thanks guys for joining, and
You bet.
we'll
Thank you, Carlos.
probably circle back with you guys later and see what's going on for the
Sure.
season.
You
So,
bet. Appreciate
well, thanks.
Thanks, man.